Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brawler in the Brain for another Sunday night. Sorry about that the show has been delayed 15 minutes. That was, of course, due to technical issues on my end. Here, it wasn't you for once, Jaz.
It's never me, mate. I don't know what you're talking about. It always seems to be you. There we go.
And I've gone again. Yeah, there I go again. Yeah. Anyway, the show will go on. So, how's your week been?
Yeah, mate, it's been good. It's been good. I'm busy like always. You still there, Tim? No, we've lost him completely. So Senator Slayer should be jumping in with me in a minute too, hopefully. See if we can get Tim back on now. There you go. No volume, Tim. You're on mute. There we go.
Yeah, if I drop out again, just keep going solo. Like the show.
No way, man. I can't go solo. Senator Slayer, jump back on, bro.
As I've explained to my viewers before, I'm getting an upgrade soon, but for the time being, there's going to be these glitches here from time to time.
Yeah, well, that. Oh yeah. So yeah, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good, I would say. Excellent weekend because you can finally see people's smiling faces in Melbourne now because the mask mandate has been lifted in retail settings. Now, where's Jaz gone? Jaz has suddenly disappeared now. But yes, 6 p.m. Friday night, the coronavirus restrictions were relaxed further. It was announced on Tuesday by, as he's known, the Deputy Premier Mini-Me Molino. So he announced that the mask mandate in retail settings would be lifted, and private gatherings restrictions, they would increase to 100 guests per day and outdoor gatherings of 200. I know you, Jaz, you never wore a mask, but you would have noticed around the Wodonga area when you're doing your shopping. I would say that because I've heard a lot of feedback that 99% of shoppers now are unmasked.
Yeah, look, we don't see any anymore. It's good to stop wearing them mainly. So I can't remember last time I seen someone in a mask.
Well, it basically shows the fact that, well, everyone got the memo in the 3 days that they didn't have to wear a mask when they went to a shopping center or the shops anymore. The 1% who do, they just look like paranoid, antisocial weirdos, and it shows that people they were only wearing the mask because it was mandated by the government, not because they actually thought it was beneficial to their health.
Yeah, look, I think they're going to continue to try to implement these laws because obviously the vaccine is only allowed for during the emergency state. So, it's not it's not a FDA approved for use, only while the lockdowns are going on. So they can't stop the lockdowns or anything at the moment. So, I expect it all to come back in full swing soon. This is just a break, really.
Well, that's what a lot of people, you would say, concerned about. Yeah, we don't have to wear a mask, or you still have to wear it on public transport. I'm not sure last time you took public transport, and what is it, aged care facilities and in hospitals.
Yeah, mate, I don't catch public transport or go to hospitals. So yeah, but apart from that, like you said, you don't see it. They do try and still make you at court. So I had to go back to court last week again, and they didn't let me in again. So I just had to defer. The prosecutor had to come out and we had to talk out the front, but they deferred it to a contest.
Was this the same one that you mentioned the other week? Same matter?
It is, yeah.
So refresh our audience.
It's an AVO, related to a video, so people may be
okay.
familiar with.
Don't talk too much about that because
Yeah,
could get you into trouble
matter.
just talking about it.
Yeah, well, so they say. It's all bullshit. You know, it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm not really too concerned about it. One thing I do want to address, Tim, though, is so we had Tom Sewell on the other night, and a lot of people had said that it was despite your wishes. A lot of people said that you tried to talk me out of Tom, you know, to having the interview with Tom. I'd like to correct that and say that not once did you tell me not to interview Tom. You actually helped me. So. Yeah, if it wasn't for you, the interview wouldn't have taken place because I had technical problems that night that you solved for me. So I have to thank you for your help. So anybody who's bagging Tim for saying that I shouldn't give Tom time, they're wrong. You know, Tim was a supporter of me doing the show. He gave me his honest opinion beforehand, both ways, and and he helped me do the show. So Tim, yeah. Thank you very much, mate, for getting it done. I just want to say to anyone who thought that or wants to put that rumor around, not true.
Well, Hard Knocks is your show. You can have whoever you want on it. Just like Wilm's Front is my show. You wouldn't tell me who to put on Wilm's Front.
No, of course not. And look, I think it was a good show with Tom. I had fun. I had a good time. I learned a lot, to be honest. So I still disagree with some of the things he said. And I always will, but he's a very good speaker. He's very smart. He was a good guest. I wanted to let him talk. I wanted to let him talk as much as I could and give him get as much of the story as it cost as he could. So we will do more because there's so many. Like there's a few things he said that we will we could touch on further and do an hour just on fucking certain topics that he touched on. So I will talk to him again. I have started reading Mein Kampf, like I said I would. So interesting so far. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I thought I'd address that straight away.
He certainly put on the charm with you. I got the feeling it was quite chummy at the beginning. The trading, what is it? First police raid stories, then gym stories. And yes, he put his worldview forward, which I can't believe that you said you didn't know that much about Hitler. I mean, did you not pay attention at school?
I didn't go to school, Tim. I didn't go to school. I was self-educated. I started reading a lot in jail, but that's not something I read. So, yeah, I didn't really go to school, and obviously what you learn in school is not the truth anyway. So I would take very little of what I learned at school, as truthful. I knew, the basic things and, the stories everyone knows. We killed 6 million Jews allegedly and invented meth and, all these. I heard all the bad things. I had heard no real positive and I had heard no other side of the story. So I actually know some German people quite well that I'm going to talk to recently and ask them their opinion because they live here, their parents still over there and that. And like I like to get a full scope of things. I'm interested in many topics. You know what I mean? So like I think everything Tom's had to say was interesting. And his fights, what he believes in them, it's different than my fight. But everybody has to find their own thing. So, I fully respected everything he said and what he's doing. But yeah, I don't know a lot about Hitler. And from what I can see so far, Hitler seems all right, man. I haven't got
obviously Tom would say a lot of nice things about him. So you heard basically the other propaganda side on Friday night.
Well, not even from Tom alone. Even the start of Mein Kampf seems relatively good to me. I haven't read much of it.
Well, he wrote it in, 1923, 10 years before assumed power, and then obviously 16 years before World War II, and was it 18 years before he agreed upon the final solution.
Yeah, and look, I had tried to read it before, but I was young and I fucking probably didn't understand, 3/4 of what I read. So revisiting it now, it's very interesting. So like I said, I'll still reserve my opinion because I'm only a little bit of the way, a little way into the book, So yeah, I'll reserve my introduction. I'll reserve my opinion, but I will let you know what I think when I finish.
Philip Cunningham says Tom explained that only National Socialism can defeat world communism, except in World War II, world communism defeated National Socialism, and it was free market democratic capitalism, well, with the leadership of US President Ronald Reagan and UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, that helped bring about the end of communism, at least in Eastern Europe, and the end of socialist economic system in China.
See, my introduction, from what I can gather so far, from my introductory version, what I can see from National Socialism, they want the government to own the banks, the schools, the hospitals, the big institutions, the power companies, and nationally, which I think is a great idea. And then they allow people to run small business. That's a great idea. That sounds perfect.
Lesson of history is that state-owned enterprises are inefficient. I mean, we've seen the past year what a disaster ultra big government is.
I'd much rather look if the government was representing of the people, which currently it's not. They're trying to fucking kill humanity, which is what I see as being a much larger issue. But I don't think people should own banks. You know what I mean? I don't think fucking people should own hospitals or prisons. I don't think there should be money made by individuals off prisoners. That's a fucking slippery slope. So for the government to own that, that's not a bad idea.
Well, this is a completely different topic. These are all individual topics of discussion, completely detached from Tom's worldview. I mean, there's plenty of people. Well, for example, the Great Australian Party that would agree with you, but they're not National Socialist.
Isn't that the basic introduction of National Socialism, though? That isn't the basis of it, from what I can gather so far. Look, I'm sure I'll get to things I disagree with, but what I'm at so far is that's what I understand. That doesn't seem bad to me. I don't know how anyone could say that is. So I'm like, when it comes to restricting people's rights, I become a lot more firm on my belief that we shouldn't be able to tell people what they can and can't do, especially around, things like marijuana, alcohol, sexual orientation, things like that. I think that's a person's choice. So, when it comes to that, that's where I'm going to start getting some issues with what they do, because they're never going to, I was born up in a pretty rough house in a pretty rough neighborhood. Being rebellious is in my spirit. I'm not letting anybody tell me what to fucking do. You know what I mean? I'm a man. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I make my own decisions and I'll live by my own laws, and they're the laws that I find just. So I think more state laws is not going to work, and I'm not going to support that anyway. So that's a big issue for me. But apart from that, what I see otherwise seems reasonable.
Well, you're talking in terms of the economic matters, which is, well, that's only obviously one aspect of Tom's whole worldview, which obviously, and I know you significantly disagreed with him when he didn't say that he hated people, but he hated enemies of his people, which is that's kind of vague.
Oh, look, Tim, you got to be careful there. I didn't hate. Look, what he gave me a very good answer, man. So I can't. I hate those who. I hate those who threaten that which I love, man, and that's true. You know what I mean? It's never been a thing.
It's never. He put it very, very vaguely.
Yeah, look, and I've never been shy about the threat. The fact that I think Islam is a threat to our culture and our society. I've never hid that. I think mass immigration and that is a bad thing. So. I don't want my daughter to grow up in Iraq and wear a burqa and marry a Muslim man and live under that law. That's not something I want. I understand that side of it. But, I also have Muslim friends, and I'm going to continue to have Muslim friends. So I see everything as being great. And Tom's in a position where he has to take that hardline stance. Maybe he's genuine about the whole thing. Maybe he has to take that stance because a lot of people follow Tom, and if he gives away any, if he says, "Oh look, yeah, a concession here or there," people are going to jump all over him. But to me, it's it's not black and white. Nothing is black and white, and there's no easy answers. So, there's good and bad in everything. He's right about a lot of things, and a lot of things, even though he's right about some things in a conservative view, I don't see there being this is the fucking way of dealing with it. So we'll see, everything's evolving and everything's changing, and Tom's opinion may change, it may not, we'll see. But either way, like I said, National Socialism so far seems to be a good idea. But once we get to the You know, that's regardless of Tom's personal views. You know, I'm talking about National Socialism, the concept.
And what happened in World War II?
Yeah, and look, I don't understand a lot of it. You know, I've never really delved into libertarianism, communism, fucking. And look, it's not been my thing, bro. It's not been my thing. You know, I had a different walk in life, so this is new to me. You know, free like that freedom. That's obviously as the newspapers keep saying, COVID. You know, COVID awoke a lot of.
There's
people.
a lot of similarities to the Nazi regime and what's happening with all the COVID restrictions and that, because Hitler assumed absolute power when supposedly the Reichstag building was burned down by communists, and he passed the Enabling Act because it was a national emergency. And of course, we're living in emergency times here. And what is it? We have basically the surveillance state is as powerful as it ever been. The Nazis had the most advanced state records to track people in their day. Those who dissented, they segregated. So these days, like in Israel of all places, if you don't take the vaccine, you're segregated, which is what Nazi Germany did to the Jewish people.
Look, Monica, I went and seen that Monica Schmidt and whatever, they were in Wodonga yesterday, and we were happened to be in the street, so we went to check out what they were on about. It's you know, I won't go right into the whole story how we got there. It's irrelevant. But her father got up at the end. You know, she was speaking in that. Look, I'm definitely not supporters of them. You know, I'm all for everybody doing their thing, and that's what they're doing. But I'm not advocating for them in any way. But Monica's dad got up there, and in his speech, he was, you know, saying about the similarities between Nazi Germany and what's going on today. So, you know, he was talking about that. It was weird, man. They fucking got this liberal nationalist or liberal fucking Democrat. I thought they said liberal Democrat or something. I don't know. But some local politician.
Yeah, Tim Quilty, local Liberal Democrat member.
Did you see his speech? Did they record his speech?
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
You need to find it. So this cunt started talking, pardon my language, but that's never going to change. So this cunt started talking, and he's just, he was all right. Like at the start, he's just a normal politician, a little weedy looking motherfucker, you know, didn't look like anyone you'd want to hang around with. And all of a sudden, you know, he starts saying, oh, I support the COVID vaccine. When the COVID vaccine comes out, I'm going to get the COVID vaccine myself. And everyone started booing. He's in the wrong place. Even myself, I'm started chanting. Well,
he's a libertarian, so you should as long as he's not going to enforce it on you. If he wants to take the vaccine, I actually came across somebody on the weekend who'd had the COVID vaccine. They don't know which COVID vaccine they got, but they did. And they said that it was a couple of days ago, they felt fine. So
well, we'll see how they feel. We'll see how they feel in 2 years. But anyway, he's a fuckwit. So he went on to keep talking, and he, you know, after that, and he got booed off, and there was some old crazy lady in the background screaming about pedophilia the whole time. He starts talking about this new state that he wants to create in between New South Wales and Victoria, this freedom state. He wants to eradicate the border and create this new state where they're not going to have any laws, and this is what they're doing. And I walked up and I got that Morgan dude's eyes, and I said, "What the fuck? What's going on, mate?" You know, and he goes, "I don't know. This dude's just ranting." So, and I'm not supporting Morgan either. Don't know him. I just said to him, I was just a random dude in the crowd saying, "What are you doing? What the fuck's this bloke talking about?" So again, not supporters, not advocates. Don't really know him. And so it comes out that he starts talking about this new state he wants to. To implement. I don't know who's behind it, but it got really fucking weird, man. He was, and everybody, he had lost everybody by then. So he ran it for a couple of minutes and jumped off. And then he stood there with his family in front of me. And I really wanted to say something to him, but I had my two girls, my wife, my boy with me, Jimmy, his brothers and all that. That was, I couldn't start ranting in the middle of the street. He had his kids, weird looking little fucking kids, but well, they were just being honest. I don't know what's going on there, but they're trying to create a new state in between Victoria and New South Wales.
Tim proposed that a while back. I think it's just his idea alone, and obviously you're not a big fan of it, and or judging by what you've said, that the other people there are not fans of it.
No, he didn't get a good crowd reception. I don't think anyone expected it. I think it was a very unexpected thing to say. So, you may be one of the only people who know that he's calling for this. Maybe we should, let some more people know that this is what fucking politicians are getting paid to come up with. He wasn't a very smart guy. He wasn't very well spoken. He didn't have a good idea. That's not a good idea. That's not going to work. You're not having a new state in between fucking Victoria and New South Wales.
I think he's brainstorming ways to just get out of Dictator Dan's jurisdiction, and the fact that, well, you lived through it. The fact that Wodonga was under Dan Andrews' lockdown, police state, everyone muzzled, while Albury was completely free during that time.
These people voted for Daniel Andrews. You vote. This is what you vote in. This is what you get. You can't just.
The people of Wodonga didn't vote for Dan. They didn't elect a Labor MP.
Oh well, they may not have, but just in general, that you can't just create a new state because you don't like the person that's been elected by the people in your state. The people in your state need to obviously wisen up and elect somebody more suited to the role of representative of the community. But that's obviously never going to change. If it wasn't Daniel Andrews, it would have been someone else. It didn't matter who was in control. This was going to be played out anyway.
Well, we have Mini Molino as the acting premier. The deputy premier, James Molino, is called Mini Molino because he's really short. Whenever he appeared at Dan's press conferences, the camera had to pan down to basically get his head in shot. So Dan is out for at least 6 weeks, but he hasn't posted on social media for 14 days. So it's been 14 days to flatten Dan Andrews from social media. Does 28 days means he's eliminated?
Yeah, look, I'm sure he'll be back. He's not going to go anywhere. So, yeah, it's only a matter of time. I don't know who this other dude is. It doesn't matter to me. I tuned off a long time ago when it comes to that.
Well, he's an alleged social conservative in the Labor Party. He voted against abortion and euthanasia, but his education minister, who's brought in the Safe Schools LGBT program and was photographed with that communist Ros Ward with the rainbow flag many years back.
Yeah. See, they're all part of the same agenda. There's no way of working with the system at this stage. The training's going to keep rolling no matter who gets in, no matter what party's elected. It's all the same thing. I hope people listen to Nick Patterson a lot. Nick's a very smart and wise man. So, when he called out Senator not Rod Carlton, he called out Ricardo Bossi. Nick wouldn't do that without knowing what he was saying first. So, what he said is out there, and people need to acknowledge that. So, Reignite Democracy are calling to support Ricardo Bossi. That may be one of the candidates that they support. They need to look at the Great Australian Party and other parties like that. What they're trying to do is split the votes between, because the Great Australian Party is a good party, and they want to get back to, a lot more constitution, a lot more freedoms. They want to bring Australia back to the way it was. So they're a good party to look at supporting. Putting Ricardo Bossi out there is only going to divide the votes. They have the same policies, the same thing. So, people have said that it may be I don't know if we call it a psyop, but whatever they fucking call it, to take away and split the vote so that, the Great Australian Party doesn't get as much as they're after. But, people really need to start listening to people like Nick when they put this information out there. So I told a few people there this, and I hope Nick reaches out to them, because there's, information that needs to be spread and shared instead of covered and neglected. So there you go. I'm just letting everyone know again, Ricardo Bossi killed young women. No good.
Well, that's what Nick has alleged,
Allegedly.
and he claims that he's got a document to prove it. Obviously, documents can be quite easily forged as well.
Of course they can, but Nick's also a very smart man, as you know, Tim. And he's he's a God-fearing man, if that's the way you put it. I don't know if he wants to call himself
I mean,
Christian
he
or what
confronted Ricardo Bossi to his face. Like, he didn't make the comments behind a keyboard. Actually, went there to the meeting, the A1 meeting in Southeast Melbourne on his Victorian tour, and asked him to his face. And I sort of wondered, because I was there that night with my moderator Margot, whether there was going to be like a bust up between the two of them, because Ricardo's ex SAS and obviously Nick's champion MMA fighter. If there was a bust up, it's pretty equal contest.
Look, yeah, Nick's a savage. Nick has some of the biggest balls of anyone I've ever met. And I know he looks pretty on camera when you see him on a podcast, but when you stand next to Nick, you know, I've been doing martial arts a long time. Nick's a man you don't want to fight. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell that. So, you know, he'll say what he wants to say, and I, you know, I'm glad that he would. So Nick doesn't make things up. He's not that way inclined. His morals don't let him. He's a good man. I don't know many good men, really. He's a good man. So when he says that, I trust him, and people should pay attention to it. He knows a lot of people, and he's been involved in them circles before. You know, he was a Labor or Liberal delegate. You know, he's made a
liberal delegate. Where the last time when he brought up similar matters at a Liberal Party AGM, he was they called out to get security to physically remove him. At least Ricardo let him like put his allegation, and Ricardo responded to it. There was no grabbing the mic and, well, good luck trying to physically remove Nick from a meeting.
That's right. And look, Ricardo's a man who's been in obviously extreme situations, you know. So, you know, being SAS and all that sort of stuff, he's a man who knows how to deal with pressure. So I don't think anything you throw at that man's going to face him too much. He's going to deal with it. He's trained to do that. You know, I wasn't there. I don't know the information, but I know Nick's a man to listen to. So, you know, that's something that should be looked at, you know, and not neglected.
Margot says she has the footage of it. Nick asking the question, Ricardo's response. So,
well, maybe she could give that footage to Nick, and if he wants to publish it, he can. That'd be great. I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
Now, even though we're COVID free in Victoria, there's another virus that's running rampant, not just in Victoria but around Australia. It's called respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. And do you know what the reason why the virus is running rampant and mainly affecting infants, children, and the elderly?
No, I haven't heard of it.
I'll just bring this up. It's because of waned immunity. It's because we've had social distancing and lockdowns. We're back to a sort of normal year, as this ABC article puts it, but with waned immunity. So RSV presents with flu-like symptoms such as runny nose, fever, cough, and wheeze. It's one of the most common reasons children be admitted to hospital. And in developing countries, it's quite common cause of infant mortality. So this Dr. Hannah Moore, an infectious diseases epidemiologist, says since September, we have seen a large resurgence of RSV across Australia. This is uncharacteristic of RSV. It's traditional winter virus when we see high peaks in the middle of the winter in the temperature climate. So the trend has been detected in all states. So this is a virus basically caused by the fact that we've been, that a lot of people have been social distancing, wearing masks, which has weakened the immunity because we're not socially interacting near each other, and it's affecting
we've been sitting in the house. Like, we've been using antibacterial cream. We've got no sunshine. Fucking vitamin D is vital to life.
So I would argue now that the mask mandate has been lifted in Victoria in most places, if you're still wearing a mask in public, then I would argue that you're contributing to the spread of this RSV virus. You're helping to weaken immunity. You're being very selfish. You're a infant child killer.
Yeah, well, that's one that could be a new trend. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. But there's a lot more to it than the mask. It's every, and people fuck now.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's the social distancing. The fact that you're still not said to handshake. You're supposed to do the elbow, which obviously a physical touch like the hand. That's obviously much more, you would say, a direct human contact. So, and obviously we have the, what is it, in hospitality, 1 person per 2 square meter rule. So there's still all this social distancing. So if this virus is spreading during the summer autumn months, then we're going to have a dark winter, and it's all caused because of social distancing, lockdowns, people wearing masks, everything, because of weakened immunity.
Yeah, look, the thing is, like, getting outside is one of the biggest things. Literally being stuck in the house, no vitamin D will be one of the biggest things that makes people unhealthy. So people need to get outside more. Everything stops for so long. There was no outside activity, very little sport was on. People were staying in their fucking house. That's going to make you sick. It's going to lower your immune system. So, but people know this. This is like people that are still getting, like, fuck, they're done, Tim. They're done. You can't help them. You can try, but you can't. They're fucked.
Those who are still.
No offense, but I hate fat people. Like I do, man. There's not many real fat people I like.
I don't hate fat people, but I definitely detest fat people wearing masks outside and in their cars.
I detest fat people, man, that come and I just look at them thinking you're a fucking slob. Not just have like beer gut fat, but fat that just, like, fuck me. And you see them leaving Macca's, like, eating fucking 3 burgers. It's disgusting, but that's what society's, because you can't help these people. Like, what can you do? They're going to get fatter. They're going to keep eating, and they're going to fucking die. Then, there becomes a stage where you can't help anymore. It's the same with these people still wearing masks. They're going to continue to wear masks. They're going to get vaccinated. They're going to fucking die.
Well, they're continuing to weaken theirs and others' immunity. I mean, they're going to just be brittle. If they do feel that it's once safe to roam the streets, they're probably going to be hit with every sort of new bug virus under the sun.
Yeah, definitely. It's and it's going to continue to happen. And once they have these vaccines and we start to see the effects of that, like you said, someone had it a couple of days later, they're feeling fine. We'll see what happens when they catch a common cold.
Well, I'll check in with them from time to time.
Yeah, just make sure they're still kicking. We'll watch we should get them to drop in and do interviews, and we'll just watch the slow deterioration. How many people in Australia have been vaccinated now? It's a fucking lot. It's too many.
We can look up the data if you want.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Nah, it's too many, man. They're once they killed Marvin Hagler, that was it. Well, it was never it for me. I was always done, but they killed Marvin Hagler.
Yeah. So I think the COVID panicker of the week is not an actual government, because there's been this, what you wouldn't call it a COVID cluster in Brisbane, where this, landscaper got it and then gave it to one of his friends. It was reported last night that he had a super spreader party with 25 people. It's only a super spreader event if people actually get the virus. We were told that he had this party when he was meant to be isolating. That turned out to be fake news today. And they claim that the Queensland health authorities, they found the missing link that links him to this doctor who got it from a international COVID patient. But the AFL today, they stopped the Brisbane Lions bus going to the airport to travel back to Brisbane, because they're worried if they go back to Brisbane, they could be caught in another lockdowns. And the AFL at the Geelong Brisbane Lions game on Friday night told all the people who'd been in Brisbane the past 2 weeks to leave the stadium.
Yeah, look, I hope they don't wreck another season of footy for me.
Who do you go for?
Bulldogs. So is Neil still backstage?
No, he's not.
Yeah, so I watched the game today. So I didn't watch it all last season, but because of COVID, like I don't usually miss a game. So I watched today. I watched this season again. They're back to full not full capacity, but full bloody full quarters and all that. So I hope they don't fuck with it again. I'm a very mad Bulldog supporter. We had a barbecue today. All the boys come around. A lot of the kids from the gym come around. The jumper castle out the back and all that. And once the footy started, that was it. I disappeared to the couch. So we had the heavyweight title fight was on before that. Stipe versus Francis Ngannou, which was a disappointment. I had I had some money riding on Stipe, but Ngannou punched the shit out of him. And yeah, I don't think there's a man. I don't think there's anyone in the world that can beat that man. That Francis Ngannou is a scary character. So yeah, I watched the fights and then I watched the football. It was great.
Well, I'm actually a Brisbane Lions supporter myself, and we was robbed on Friday night with that clear holding the ball by that Geelong player right in front of the Lions goal with 30 seconds to go. It should have been a holding the ball free kick to the Lions in front of goal, but it wasn't given for some insane reason, and the AFL has admitted, it was the wrong call. So yeah, that's the real outrage of the weekend. But if they're grounded in Melbourne, I guess they'll go back to being the Fitzroy Lions for the next few weeks or so.
Yeah, why would you go for Brisbane? You're from Melbourne. Did you used to go for Fitzroy?
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, I went for Fitzroy too, but then I wouldn't go into state when they left. My dad used to manage bands, and he managed a band. And so you'd remember Brad Boyd, the old captain for Fitzroy. His brother was in a his brother was in a band. Footy is dead. That's coming from a Queenslander, so you can't take too much. Ask them about
when they came back in the middle of last year, the AFL, they all took the knee for Black Lives Matter after George Floyd. That was cucky.
Who, the AFL did?
The AFL players did.
Oh no! See, I didn't know that. See, don't tell me things like that, Tim. It gives me. I have no idea anything that happens outside a fucking Bulldogs game. I don't know who won Friday night. I don't know who's playing. I don't know. But I know when Bulldogs are on, and I sit there and I watch that game, and I kick my fucking kids out the lounge room. And then Jimmy's brothers come in today, and they sat down. And they got told to shut up. Like anybody, do not talk when I'm watching the football. That's it turns on. I know people say, fucking football, but it turns. It's a time for my brain to turn off. I can't watch fights without turning off because I'm analysing everything. And this, that, and, so football's the one thing I can watch and just think of nothing else. I get passionate, and if the Bulldogs lose, I usually crack the shits for the rest of the day. But it's good. I like it.
Now let's go back to your Tom Sewell interview on Friday night, because it got plenty of views. I think the highest concurrent count was 160, so there was a lot watching, and I definitely know that there was a few Antifa watching as well, and decided to write their own summary of it. And now, but it was interesting that the interview happened when it did, because on that Friday there'd been heaps of hit pieces in the mainstream media about so-called far-right extremism, including from your mate Michael McGowan. This time he decided to target Harrison McLean, who's one of the organisers of the Melbourne Freedom Rallies. His headline is "Where Freedom Meets the Far Right: The Hate Messages Infiltrating Australian Anti-Lockdown Protests." So how is freedom hateful? Like,
yeah, look, I don't know that I've seen some of that article. I didn't read the whole thing. Look, and to address something now, we might as well address this now. I'm no longer with the Proud Boys, so the Borderland chapter closed. We shut down the chapter. We made our memberships inactive for now. Reasons being that we had other things.
Yeah, it goes down here. McGowan's article and talks about how calls you the president of the Borderlands. It says faction
Yeah, look, that's no longer true. That, obviously that was, but no longer is. The Borderlands is no longer there. So me and my boys we're doing our own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So if any Antifa sympathizers or journalists still calling you the head of the Proud Boys Borderlands chapter, then they're reporting false information, and it's probably more that they're wanting to push a narrative rather than actually report facts.
Yeah, that's right. So look, well, that's I haven't made that public yet, only because there's no real reason to. Yeah, like we were there for a while. We left. Then life goes on. There's nothing really to talk about. All respect to the Proud Boys, especially the boys in America. I know a few of them are watching. So shout out to all of them. But we were heading in a different direction. We wanted to do different things. So being part of a group isn't what I want right now. I'm concentrating on other things. So that's what I'm going to do.
Now, obviously, you're familiar.
I don't want anyone held responsible for anything I do or say either. And that's it's easy for me to just do and say my own thing at this current time. So but still love to the boys.
Now, obviously, you've become quite familiar who Michael McGowan at The Guardian is this past month. But have you heard of Alex Mann at the ABC?
No, I have not.
Well, a lot of people in our chats will know who he is. From the second half of 2018 to 2019, he was the main reporter doing exposés on the far right. His first big story was because he's a reporter for the ABC Radio's background briefing program, which, as the name suggests, it's an audio only program. So his first one was an expose on members of the Lads Society, which is another organization Tom Sewell founded, joining the New South Wales Young Nationals. And so the members of the Lads who had joined the New South Wales National Party were doxxed. They were kicked out of the New South Wales National Party, and Alex Mann got lost of publicity over that, and he did he decided to turn up unannounced at the then Lads Sydney clubhouse, where he just turned up one Friday night and said, "Hi, I'm from the ABC. Want to make a statement?"
Yeah, look, I don't know. There's a lot of them out there writing bullshit. None of them are very talented. You know what I mean? I watched. I seen the other day someone made a Proud Boy ballad video. Me and Tim, we spoke about this, and it was actually not bad. If you're watching it, you weren't too mean to me, which is great. They made fun. They critiqued them. The worst thing they done was critique my vocabulary. They tried to correct me on the Constitution, realised that I knew a lot more than what they did, and had to rescind their statement. And then tried to correct a lot of my punctuation. Look, I'm an uneducated fucking street kid that turned into a criminal and became a father and tried to better his life. So, my punctuation wasn't great, and they were my first couple articles. I decided to stop writing articles because I don't think many people read them. Tim, I've never asked you the numbers, but you could probably tell me how many views
they got a decent amount of views, and I edited them as well.
Yeah,
maybe I didn't edit them enough.
But saying that, like at the moment I'm working on music, so that's what I'm going to continue to write. But the documentary wasn't too bad, all in all. But there's a whole lot of shit. I do know who Mark Austin is, but Mark Zane Austin. I do know all about his photography company. I do know where he lives. So there are some people out there, like they try to hide a lot of these people, but they get found eventually. So the more they push, the more we push back. There's a bit of a push again at the moment. That's going to happen. I had Tom on, so I expected a bit of a comeback. But you
were snapped by the local your local Antifa stalkers. They had a photograph of you with Morgan Jonas, which is, and you've just said you went to the RDA meeting, so of course you're going to be like seen in the company of Morgan Jonas.
Yeah, I said hello to him. You know what I mean? Like we're on different sides of. Well, I don't even know. I'm on different sides of anything to anybody. I just said hello to the motherfucker, and some weird dudes like I think I know who it is, man. I think I spotted the bitch. Like it was this like nasty looking woman with a hat and glasses. She was like plump and chubby, and she was staring at me. So they can't hide forever, these Aubrey Wodonga Antifa cunts. You know, they can continue to take photos. I always said that, like I said to him, we don't hide. That proves that. That photo proves it. You know, they want to come up and say hello.
You've got a distinctive appearance, so I don't think you probably have a lookalike around town which they could mistake.
No, the town's not that. But this is my town. This is my community. This is where we live, and this is where my people are. You know, well, this is one of the places where my people are. But this is they continue to take photos and stuff, but eventually they all get found out. So that that time will come.
Oh, well, I've gone on.
I had a mate. He's very clever. He had a T-shirt that has a Aubrey. Fucking Aubrey. It has an Antifa symbol on the front, and on the back it's Pinochet. You probably know the shirt. And so when people see it, they think it's an Antifa shirt. So he went to a servo up here, and someone seen the shirt, and they said, "Oh, Antifa." And he goes, yeah, Antifa. And the bloke, he goes, "How do you know?" The bloke goes, "Oh, I'm Antifa." And my mate goes, "Oh, actually," and turned around and showed him the Pinochet on the back, and the seemed to trigger some emotions, and the bloke ended up walking off, wouldn't serve him, refused to serve him, sent the manager out, and the manager said, "What happened? You broke the kid." And he said, "Oh, no, he's a bit fucking triggered," and and continued to go on his way. We've all been back in there a few times, haven't seen him since. Little red-headed fella, but he'll pop up.
We've gone on a tangent, going back to Alex Mann. So after he did this expose on the Lad Society, he did another background briefing expose where he supposedly exposed who David Clarkson is. Now, I'm not sure you know who David Clarkson is, but he pops up now from time to time. Now, he exposes the Antifa trolls online. So he's had a number of Facebook pages, YouTube channels, BitChute channels where he goes over the various far left Facebook trolls and exposes their sock accounts. He's an old man with a computer generated British accent, and Alex Mann thought that he had exposed David Clarkson as being this Gippsland dentist, David McMahon, except that's not true. That's David McMahon is not David Clarkson. None of us know, even though we love David Clarkson's work, none of us know who he is. It's nobody's ever going to admit to it.
Yeah, so, look, some people have, they think they have a lot to lose. I'm not for anybody hiding their identity. If you got something to say it like a man. You know what I mean? Like, just say what you've got to say, and then fucking let the chips fall where they may. That's the world we should live in. This whole cancel culture. And you know what shits me? People keep commenting, like people I hear, not keep commenting. I did hear a lot of comments that start saying my Antifa video, like I complain about cancel culture, and then my Antifa video was cancel culture. That's not true. I just went there to hold someone accountable for what they had said. They're saying, "Oh, Jack said fuck all." That's not the point. Jack is the only person we found at the time. So, I wanted to ask him some questions. You want to talk shit online, and they say, "Oh, he done nothing wrong." They were doxing us. So they were publicly saying, "Our businesses, do not support these businesses. Do not go to these businesses. These people are Nazis. These people are this. These people are that." Just saying whatever the fuck come out of their head. That's doxing. Yeah. So I didn't dox anybody. I never said what business we went to. Never will. I went to the business. I didn't say where it was.
You do realize that no matter how many times you put out these facts, people who write about you are not going to include your side of the story or the actual reality of what happened.
Of course not, because they rely on bullshit and propaganda to sell their stories. So,
And they're biased.
they need to. Yeah, they need to demonize us. I understand that. That's part of the parcel. That's the bed we made when we decided to get into what we do. You understand that, Tim? You're demonized. It's what happens. So that's expected. That's fine. But it shows you the cowardice of them. They, whether they know deep down or not, some people are like fucking zombies. You speak to them and they seem soulless. They're detached. There's just something missing. So, these people don't concern me. What impresses me is when people do things. What doesn't impress me is when people critique what other people do and comment on what other people do. If you got something, make your own fucking content. Do something. You know what I mean? Like, create something. Don't sit there and just.
That's what David Clarkson did. Obviously, you don't like the fact that he was anonymous, but he had Facebook pages, YouTube channels, BitChute channels.
Oh yeah, I got nothing problem with him. I don't even know who he is, man. I got no problem with him. He's probably great. You know what I mean? I don't have time for all that sort of stuff. But
he occasionally used to show up in a lot of our chats.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, David Clarkson.
G'day, Dave. Thanks for watching.
He's not here tonight.
Oh, well, there you go.
But going back to Alex Mann, he actually won a journalism award for that story on David Clarkson. He and Osman Faruqi, who he did the story with, because apparently, they accused David Clarkson of doxing these innocent, mentally ill Antifa supporters. And the reason why Osman Faruqi was in the story is because a couple of years ago, Avi Yemeni published Osman's phone number on his Facebook page, and that was the end of Avi's first Facebook page. And so Osman got lots of abusive phone calls and apparently had to go to counseling because he was just so triggered by it all.
Yeah, well, that happens. You play the game, and that's what happens.
So then for 2 years, Alex Mann didn't do much apart from another, podcast series on the Whitlam dismissal of 1975, as if there hasn't been endless books and podcasts and documentary series and reenactments on that. But now he's back with a background briefing expose on this. I'd never heard of it until I think it's Cass Ross, who's a far right researcher, told me about the base. And so Alex Mann has got his hands on wire app tapes of the base, which is he calls a global white supremacist terror group, actively targeting young Australian men for recruitment, including a One Nation candidate for federal Parliament. And so, this is apparently a far-right extremist group that's operating worldwide and in Australia. I've never heard of it. I don't think nobody else that I've spoken to who's in nationalist circles has ever heard of it. But already after this expose, we have Anne R. Lee, who's on the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Security and Intelligence, Labor backbencher, who wants them banned in Australia based on this report.
Yeah, look, all these nobody politicians are just vying for airtime. So they all just she doesn't know who they are either. She just seen that headline and said, "Yeah, ban the base." She got no idea. I've never heard of them. Like I have over the last couple of weeks, I still don't know who they are or what they believe in. It's just another fucking group. They promote these groups by no one knows who they are until they start promoting them, and then people start to look into them, and then they want to join them. And this is how we get people that are they're labeling us all dissidents. There's no reason for anybody to join a group. Join a community. Make a community. Build something. Today we had a barbecue at my house with 30 people. There is no group. There's no club. There's no nothing. They're people, So that's what people should concern themselves with. This, if you join a group at the moment, not at the moment, in this day and age, it's just the way it's going. They're going to label you. Left, right, doesn't fucking matter what group you join. You'll be labeled in that pigeonhole. Just, do your own thing.
Hadron Anti-Bullying, which might be an alter Bieber Anti-Bullying, says National Justice did a good article on the base. It's basically some FBI honeypot. Sounds like it. If it's a group that no one's ever heard of, wanting to basically flush out who are the neo-Nazis in every Western country, that's a perfect operation.
Yeah, that's why I just promote it so people join. That's nobody's heard of it until they start saying base, and putting up fucking cool photos with guns and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's how they lure in these young blokes. And they a lot of times they lure in idiots. No offense, but a lot of people that that decide to follow somebody else, they're looking for you should never follow anybody else. Do your own thing. Be your own leader. Be your own man. So and look, I've obviously joined things, but I've never followed anybody. So, that's not something people should do. They should work out. People should lead their own families. Every man should be the head of his own household and not leave the fucking welfare or anything of the household in someone else's hands. This person said we need to do this. This person said we need to do that. You're the fucking man of the house. What did you say? You know what I mean? That's what's important, and that's what we're missing. We're missing men.
Also, so this has all happened in the past couple of days. We also had Victoria Police reveal that they have an active counter-terrorism investigation involving right-wing extremists in the state, and confirmed that separate action could be taken against a handful of people who have allegedly made vile threats against others because of their race and religion. In a wide-ranging briefing about the extent of right-wing extremism threat in Victoria, senior police said about 40% of the hundreds of extremists currently being monitored in Victoria were from that cohort, workload that almost double in the past 18 months.
Yeah, look, they're just they're full of shit. I also seen an article saying that the far right had recruited inside of Victoria Police,
they claim it alleges that they're concerned about the far right infiltrating Victoria Police, which, well, if you've seen Victoria Police in action and through the courts, I doubt there's many far right people there. In fact, there's plenty of far left in the senior leadership there. I mean, Luke Cornelius, the obese assistant commissioner, I mean, he's taken a knee for Black Lives Matter. He's a complete social justice warrior, and of course has made his disdain known for the batshit crazy freedom advocates.
I thought you heard, Tim. I heard rumours that there was right-wing activists inside the police force. I heard there was many. I heard that there's like a major infiltration going on, but they may be rumours. You know what I mean?
I remember the left. They went crazy when it was when they were blockading a mining protest in 2019. One of the Victoria police officers did the OK sign to basically signal, "Are you okay?" And they thought that was enough to. They wanted the police officer fired, and an investigation into racism in Victoria Police.
I think the mustache is one of the symbols. If you see a police officer with a mustache, I think they're a right-wing supremacist. That's what I heard. That may be a rumor. It may be unfounded, but, it could be true too. So if you see a police officer with a mustache, fair chance he's a Nazi. Just saying, there's a chance.
Well, if there is this, far right contingent in Victoria Police, then why have they gone after Neil Erikson on two separate charges of disturbing religious worship? He's not going to be able to make it onto the stream tonight, but he was convicted on Friday of disturbing religious worship when in April 2019 he turned up to Friday Islamic prayers at Federation Square with a megaphone and said Muhammad is a false prophet, and he was detained by Victoria Police at the time for breaching the peace and moved on. So the trial was last week. He's going to be sentenced on Tuesday, which he could actually, the magistrate in this case should actually sentence him to jail, because this charge has a 3-month prison sentence. And imagine just for that, just basically offending some people, disturbing what it is that they were doing for, I don't know, 30 seconds or something, you go to jail for it.
There's a couple parts to that question, Tim. The first question you asked is why. It takes time. Obviously, the right wing, they're not in positions of power yet. They're only
yeah. You're obviously you're not being serious with this, we should say. And so if someone takes this out of context, you're mocking the proposition.
Maybe, but I have heard rumors. But anyway, I think like the fact that they're considering, like the fact that he was convicted in the first place is a crime. The justice system in this country is fucked. So they're never going to, Neil knew he was in for a hard run. He knew it was going to be against him from the start. Yeah, he has every intention to appeal, I'm sure. They'll let him talk about that when he chooses to. He's not going to go to jail, anytime soon. That's guaranteed. There's lots of avenues before that happens.
He's indicated that he's going to appeal if he is sentenced to prison.
Yeah, of course, and you get appeal bail straight away, and then there's a long process. But if they do try to, I don't think they would, and I don't even want to say it. But if that ever happened, you would see boots on the ground. The people of this country aren't silly. Neil's very well known, and he's very well respected. Neil, he's not a silly man, and he's grown up a lot. So. I think they would find there would be a lot of resistance if they tried to go down that path, and I don't think they will. I think Neil's going to be just fine. He's done nothing wrong. You can't lock a man up for doing nothing wrong.
If he goes to prison for that, like he'll be going to there's even known pedophiles who are convicted but don't get sentenced to prison, and he could potentially be going to prison just for disturbing and offending people for 30 seconds.
Look, Neil's not worried. This isn't the first time they've threatened him. This isn't the first time they've threatened him with jail over bullshit. So, I'm sure he'll get his way out of this one. But the fact that they're talking about it is bad enough. That in itself is fucking ridiculous. If God forbid that day ever comes, Neil's a big bloke.
He's still got to have a trial for the same charge when he went in May 2019 to a gay church service in Hawthorne, where he was invited to speak by the group, and they didn't like what he had to say about God's views on marriage and sodomy.
Well, Neil will definitely let you know what he thinks straight up. So they probably should have researched his views before they invited him to speak. That's more their fault.
Well, they probably didn't know. Not everyone knows who Neil is.
Well, then don't invite him to speak in your church. You know what I mean? Neil, being honest, that's what he does. So it was a walk-in church. So it's not like he sent them an email beforehand saying, "My name's Neil Erikson. I'm going to come to your gay church service tonight." Well,
that's not how it works.
I'm always going to justify him. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's done no wrong in any of them situations. Neil's a vegan. Leave him alone. Why is everyone picking on him for?
All right, let's turn to the final third of this show. I'm not sure if you've been following the parliamentary sex scandals.
10 minutes. You were late, so I have 10 minutes.
Is that what Kate said?
Yeah, we got 10 o'clock's my schedule, man. Yeah.
Ask Kate, since we started late, can we just go a bit over time?
No, we can't. Now you make her feel bad. You put on the spot. 10 o'clock, man. 10 o'clock. You have a fan, Kate. Kate and Tim will be enjoying the fights together soon, so that should be good. But 10 o'clock. I've got to get off, bro. But Kate, what's the next thing?
Yeah, so you probably haven't heard the latest in the parliamentary sex scandals.
No, definitely not. Sex scandals are always more interesting than COVID, I suppose. Sex sells.
Oh, it definitely does, and sex and politics. So it was exposed, no pun intended, on last Monday on the project by Peter Van Onselen by a whistleblower called Tom that staffers. Federal Liberal staffers had filmed themselves and shared images and videos of themselves masturbating on MPs' desks.
Yeah, look, who hasn't done that? Yeah, never an MP's desk, but yeah, that's no great shock.
One MP who was identified in this masturbation sharing group on MP's desk, his name was Nathan Wynne. But the truth was, because it was spun as this is a further example of male sexism and misogyny, but the truth is that this was actually a group of gay liberal staffers, and they were filming themselves masturbating on particular MPs' desks who were opposed to same-sex marriage. So much was made that they masturbated on a female MP's desk. It was on the desk of Nola Marino, who was opposed to same-sex marriage at the time. So they were doing this as basically as in their mind, a gay rights fuck you to these homophobic MPs. And the whistleblower was actually this guy on the right here, Gavin Cuddy, who is a retail worker in Canberra, who Nathan Wynne had somewhat of a friendship, maybe a relationship with, and shared him all of these images, and then he's gone to Peter Van Onselen at the project. He has a Twitter account now called this Gavin Cuddy guy, Tom the Whistleblower. His handle is Blowing Tom. And that's Nathan Wynne on the left. He's the staffer who lost his job this week. And
this is the state of our government, man. This is what we get given from our government. We've got fucking COVID going on, and this is the news that they feed us. It's fucking
but this is what's going on in what has been going on in our Parliament House.
Yeah. And look, and now they're pushing it down the throats of the public too. Clean up your house in private. Like that shit shouldn't go on. And we, fire them people and move the fuck on. Yeah.
Well, this has been done on the taxpayers' time. This, in the taxpayers' building that they pay for, Parliament House.
The fish rots from the head, Tom. Tim. So fucking Tom. Tim, the fish rots from the head. So when they start saying like, that's the fucking culture in our parliament. Like they're degenerates. There's so many sex scandals going on there at the moment. It's I suppose it never stops. It's just now getting more attention. They're coming back on the getting violent too, I see.
Yeah, and Peter Credlin, who's Tony Abbott's former chief of staff, she claims that she fired Nathan Wynne initially, and then he was brought back by Malcolm Turnbull. She claimed on her Credlin program that there's been historical gay orgies that took place in Parliament House. Apparently, these orgies took place in the parliamentary prayer and meditation room. And this has been, some of this of her stories have been confirmed by a Twitter user, Difficult Nerd, whose name is James Newbury, who said that, according to him, after Cory Bernardi in his 2012 speech, when he said that same-sex marriage could lead to bestiality, there was an orgy in his office of 6 coalition staffers and 6 Labor staffers. So they went and desecrated his office by having a 12-person orgy in there. And there was also a former, Peter Credlin alleges that there was a former coalition minister who his staff signed in a male prostitute for him to have sex with in the prayer meditation room. Wonder which former minister that could have been who had a male prostitute in Parliament House. Could it be the same one who claimed that their Twitter account was hacked when it liked some gay porn?
Yeah, well, it's all very suspect, isn't it? There's a lot going on in there. So what do you do? What are you doing next week for Easter, Tim? I'm not gonna. I won't be. Obviously, the show will have a break next week.
I'm not planning to have a break.
I will Easter. We'll be at my wife's mother's for Yeah, 3 days. So she loves it. It's her favourite time of year. All her brothers come up. You know, the whole family's there. So we spent a couple of nights there. I'm supposed to be in the swag, but it's way too cold, so I'm not going to do that. So I was going to do one Friday night, and then I found out the doggies are playing too, so I can't. So the whole weekend's gone next weekend. But are you planning to do anything, or?
I'm not planning any like a getaway in particular. I'm always I took the whole summer off, so I've got to keep on the job. So we could do a makeup show
Easter's
some
big
night.
here. My wife makes up bunny feet. She does a stencil. She puts like rabbit hops through the house with flour. Hides it like it's massive. Yeah, we spare no expense on Easter. We spare no expense on anything, but it's a big holiday, especially for the kids, man. We don't give my kids much sugar, so yeah, Easter they go berserk.
We also had later in the week another, or maybe you could call it, you couldn't call it a sex scandal, but basically a trolling scandal with Andrew Laming, who's the federal Liberal MP for Bowman, a seat in southwestern Brisbane. Here at 9 News up there, they spoke to two women, Alex Russo and Shayna Hewitt, who have accused Andrew Laming of online bullying and harassment. And Shayna Hewitt claims that Mr. Laming took photos of her in a park and rang her school asking for a timetable. She said her and her husband, a local councillor, are living in fear. So, and Andrew Laming, he is known for many years for his online trolling and shitposting on Facebook. So I guess this shouldn't come as a surprise. But then 9 News, they revealed last night on Saturday night that he had, I'll bring it up here. Can anyone hear those autoplay ads? I hope they can't. So this lady, Crystal White, claims Mr. Laming took a photo of her bottom on his mobile phone in 2019 while her underwear was exposed as she bent down and filled a fridge with drinks at a landscape supply business in Brisbane.
Yeah.
My manager at the time saw him do it and forced Andrew Laming to delete the photo. And it goes further down here because he was sent a message on Facebook, and Andrew Laming. I remember that time that you took an inappropriate photo, you perv. And Andrew Laming said, I didn't think it was rude. I thought it was funny, but you made it awkward. Like hypothetically, say just any man, if Kate was putting things in a fridge and like took a photo of her like that, what would your reaction be?
Oh, look, it wouldn't be great. Yeah. Well, that's, what are you going to do? It's my wife. So it's, of course I'm going to do something.
Which is like, and he's a federal MP, and while he's on an electorate visit, decides, I'll just take a photo of her bottom while she's bending over. Yeah,
look, men do things. You know what I mean? That happens. You can't make everything a bloody an outrage. Like it's, should he have done it? Nah, he probably just shouldn't have got caught, to be honest. If he didn't get caught, it wouldn't be such a big deal. If you didn't do shit like that, don't get caught.
Well, he's been an MP for 17 years, so he's never held a ministry on or anything. He's been on the backbench this entire time. Now, a guest of Wilmsfront is actually a staffer to Andrew Laming, Barclay McGain. It turns out that because Barclay in about the same time last year was allegedly fired from Andrew Laming's office. This was over because he laughed at one of his mates, Jake Scott, saying Aborigines couldn't invent the bloody will. But earlier this month, Andrew Laming confirmed no, he was never fired. He was just basically, you'd say on leave, and so as brought back. Barclay describes Andrew as a bit eccentric, which is it's one way of putting at it. Now, some of Andrew's trolling is quite hilarious, but yeah, definitely I think the photo thing is, well, it's ended his political career because he's not recontesting the next election, and the Prime Minister has told him to go to empathy training. Yeah. All right, man, we'll wrap it up there. Okay. We're 2 minutes over. But we'll be back in 2 weeks, yeah? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll have Easter off. Easter Sunday, though. Yeah. And hopefully I'll have all my technical difficulties solved by the next show. I hope so. I expect more of you, Tim. You're you set the standard here, so. Oh, do I? Well, I definitely don't. If I set the standard, we're in trouble. All right. Thank you, everyone, in both the Unshackled and Jay Shibi YouTube chats. As Joe said, we'll be back in a fortnight. I'll be back on Tuesday evening on the Unshackled channel for Trad Tasman talk, and then Wilms around 8:30 p.m. Wednesday. So good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Organising this rally and inviting me to speak. I know it's not an easy thing to organise a public event, so just like to thank my listeners by putting on such an important event.